matuto at makibahagi sa usapang kasama ang buong pamilya. Masayang Tahanan!
Magandang araw sa lahat ng ating mga ka-family. Ito po ang inyong Masayang Tahanan at ako ang inyong kumare forever Maloy Malibiran sa Lumbides. Kamusta na ang ating mga kumare, ang ating mga kumpare, mga kapitbahay? Kayo ba ay may mga anak na nagbalik eskwelahan na? Dahil nga po, nag-move na, 'di ba? Ang opening ng classes, June na uli tayo. Well, for some schools, yung iba, ibang buwan pa rin ang pagbabalik nila sa eskwelahan. Ano man ang inyong pinagkakaabalahan ngayong araw na ito, sasamahan namin kayo sa inyong paglalaba, pagluluto, paglilinis ng bahay. 1 oras ng masayang kwentuhang pampamilya ang hatid sa inyo ng Masayang Tahanan. At ngayon po, talaga namang very inspiring ang atin pong pag-uusapan. Malaki ba ang inyong puso o malaki ang puwang sa inyong puso ng pagtulong sa iba't ibang mga communities para sa mga medical missions, outreach, para maglingkod sa atin pong mga kababayan? I'm sure you will be inspired by our guest today dahil kung ang iba sa atin, pangarap natin, nagbabakasyon sa Canada, nagbabakasyon sa ibang bansa, aba ito po, nagbabakasyon dito sa Pilipinas para magkaroon ng mga medical missions. Mas makikilala natin siya maya-maya. But for now, narito ang ating inaanak Dorcas Brion para po sa ating Bibang Inay.
Welcome to Bibang Inay, where motherhood is celebrated, marriage is nurtured, and you are reminded that you matter. I'm Cass Brion, a homeschooling mom, a passionate wife, and your cheerleader for real, messy, and meaningful growth. Kaya ilapag mo munang labada, Inay, because this moment is for you. It's so easy to feel pressure these days. Pressure to raise achievers, pressure to homeschool perfectly, pressure to feed them organic, screen-free, sugar-free, meltdown-free, lahat na lang free, no? And if we're not careful, we start parenting to perform instead of parenting on purpose. Pressure says you should be doing more, your child should be ahead, you're falling behind. Yan ang pressure. At totoo naman, nakaka-pressure talaga. But purpose says, I'm raising this child the way God uniquely called me to. My family doesn't have to look like theirs. Our pace is enough. Our story is valid. Yan ang purpose. When we parent from pressure, we get overwhelmed, reactive, and resentful. But when we parent from purpose, we become more intentional, more patient, more at peace. So stop copying what works for someone else. Ask yourself, what is God asking me to do in this season of my family? Because purpose clarifies what matters and silence what doesn't. Mga ina, you don't need to prove anything. You just need to be faithful with what's in front of you. You don't need to meet the society's checklist. You just need to walk your God-given assignment. So let's drop the pressure and let's pick up purpose. Because your child doesn't need a perfect mom. They need a present, purpose-led mom.
Maraming salamat sa ating inaanak, ang ating Bibang Inay, mompreneur Dorcas Brion. Ako talagang inspiring ang inaanak na yan, ano? Nag-homeschool ng kanilang mga chikiting, mayroong mga negosyo at naroon ang kanyang puso para mag-impart pa ng maraming parenting tips, lalong-lalo na sa mga bagong mga magulang. Kaya tutok lamang kayo palagi dito sa ating Masayang Tahanan dahil marami talaga kayong mapupulot na aral para sa mas matatag na pamilya, mas masayang tahanan. Eto na nga, nabanggit ko kanina, marami sa atin, gustong-gusto natin nagbabakasyon. Kung ikaw ay taga Luzon, pupunta ka ng Visayas o kaya naman ng Mindanao para doon ka mag-staycation, doon ka mag-relax, doon ka magkaroon ng bakasyon. Pero, eto pong ating bisita ngayong araw na ito, wow! Siya naman ay nagbabakasyon dito sa Pilipinas para magkaroon ng mga dental missions, medical missions. So, baliktad from Canada, uuwi ng Pilipinas para maglingkod sa ating mga kababayan. Isa sa mga inspiring people na akin pong nakilala kamakailan through the family camp of God is Able Foundation. Isa po siyang dentista, ipinanganak sa Cebu, lumaki sa Canada, at ayan, pabalik-balik ngayon dito sa Pilipinas. Walang iba kundi si Dr. Jan Gallardo. Welcome to Masayang Tahanan.
Thank you so much for having me po. Magandang araw.
Yan. Pero Cebuano ka rin, kaya dapat magbisaya ka rin. Naaalala pa ba?
Just a little bit, but then now I'm.
So, when did you arrive here in the Philippines this year?
I arrived in the Philippines May 5th.
May 5th.
Yeah, of this month. Yeah.
Wow. Tapos, you do this every year? You're here in the Philippines every year?
Not every year. I was last year in 2023 for 4 months. And then last year we were in Ghana for 4 months, Ghana, Africa. But yeah, this year we arrived on the 5th, or I arrived on the 5th, and then first medical mission namin May 7th.
Ito na yung, hindi pa ito yung God is Able.
Hindi pa po.
So marami. Nakailang medical mission ka na?
Before God is Able or until today?
Until today.
About 11.
11 na?
11 po.
Wow! Grabe naman. Sana all. Di ba? Pero kwentuhan mo kami. Unang-una, curious ako. Ang ikli ng pangalan mo, your name is very short. Jan. 3 letters lang.
Yes po.
Ano yon? Is it short for something? Do you have a longer name?
So my full first name po is Jan Zebulon. So I was supposed to be born in January, but then I checked out December 28, so maaga.
Dapat pala Dek ang pangalan mo.
I'm just happy. My parents were like, let's name him Jan anyway. And then yung Zebulon po, so when I was growing up, I think my mom had a very hard labor and just the pregnancy of it all, so they named me Zebulon. And then when I asked my mom what it meant, it was God's gift.
Wow.
Yeah.
So gift ka talaga, not just to your family, but because of what you do, you are a gift to many communities, not just here in the Philippines, but also in different parts of the world. So, Doc Jan, you are a dentist. Pero before we talk about what you do in your dental missions or medical missions, let's talk about your childhood.
Sure.
Pinanganak ka sa Cebu.
Sa Cebu nga.
Pero bakit ganyan ang accent mo?
So I was born and raised in Cebu po. And then I left Cebu when I was in grade 2. So I was 8 years old.
8 years old.
Pagpunta when I arrived in Canada na. Yeah. And then after that I spent some time doon sa Canada. And then after I finished high school, then I came back and pursued dentistry here.
Dito ka na nag-aral?
Yes po.
Manila or sa Cebu?
Sa Cebu po.
Sa Cebu.
Yes.
So, hate, may panahon na nandito ka sa Philippines. There are times you were in Canada. How Filipino are you? Di ba? Yung iba kapag hati yung dalawang cultures, alin ang what is weightier? You're being Canadian or you're being Filipino Cebuano?
I think yung Filipino Cebuano po. I always enjoy being here.
Talaga?
Right now, so I finished dentistry, and then now I'm pursuing another degree in neuroscience before pursuing medicine.
Also here in the Philippines?
No, doon sa Canada.
Okay.
But every summer I'm always excited. I'm waiting to come here every summer. That's what gets me excited.
Talaga?
Yes.
Alam mo, may nagsabi na ba sa yung may kamukha kang artista dito sa Pilipinas?
I've yung mga medical missions po, they've told me sometimes.
Anong sabi nila? Sino ang kamukha mong artista?
No, I can't.
Kamukha niya si Aga Mulak, di ba? Nung bata-bata pa si Aga Mulak. Kilala mo si Aga Mulak?
Yes po, they've said that.
Oh. Kamukha mo Tapos si Agamulak nung bata pa siya, 'di ba? Merong hawig. Parang naaalala namin, eto high school pa ako nito eh. Ang naaalala kong pelikula ni Agamulak sa ay Bagets. You should watch that. Oo.
Okay, I'll take a note.
So
po.
that you can see the actor that looks like you. Okay? So let's not talk about show business.
Sure.
Let's now talk about your being involved in missions. What got you interested in doing medical missions?
So first and foremost, well, I didn't even know what it was at first, but it was part of our curriculum when we were studying dentistry. So we had a class called community dentistry. So that takes you to a community, and then you do a medical mission outreach under, CIs or like clinical instructors that would come with us, right? So it just, you know what? It's so funny because there's different batches because we can't all go at one
Yes.
time, diba? So mag-take turns kami. So when it was, for example, one weekend it will be you, next weekend ibang group, and then the first time I ever did it, I had so much fun. Like, seeing the community, magtulong, mag-volunteer.
Talaga.
So I really requested na, Doc, pwede po ako next week, even though hindi
Hindi mo schedule.
Hindi ko schedule. And then supposed to be no, but then I was like, Doc, please, I'll just be in the back, at least. And then after that, it was just I just enjoyed doing it. And then are you familiar with Operation Smile po?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so operations.
Yung nagaano sila, no? Parang merong, anong tawag dito? Cleft palate?
Cleft lip and cleft palate po. So may mga medical outreaches po or surgical outreaches sa Cebu. So usually like for example Operation Smile, Rotoplas, so the Rotary Club of Cebu, and Abounding Love, for example. So they do a lot of outreaches from February to March. So same thing that they do it for a week, and then they provide the service for free. And then I just loved volunteering like every day, even though I'm supposed to be gone there for one day.
And then whenever you go to, like last year, you were in Ghana. Every so often you are here in the Philippines. You raise your own support for that?
Well, my ticket, for example, then I pay my own. I haven't had the chance yet to get support from like other NGOs and things like that. So mostly all my volunteer work is on me, other than when I'm on the ground na. So for example, I've linked up with Dr. Joy Tika, for example. She is part of HEMI. Also, that's how I met Pastor Alex.
Pastor Alex is with Revelation Church. So si Pastor Alex yung kanyang boss kapag nandito sa Manila, and he schedules a lot of outreaches where Doc Jan and the other volunteers go, hindi
Right.
ba? Paano ka nagkaroon ng heart, no, for doing stuff like this? Ano yung childhood mo ba? Did you grow up in church? Laman ka ba ng simbahan when you were growing up?
I would say so, yes po. I grew up in a God-fearing household. Church every Sunday, regardless what the weather is. There's no excuse.
Talaga?
We always go. And then now that I think about it, I've been volunteering at the church even when I was younger as an altar server.
Talaga?
So, I don't kami sa Canada, right? But I don't want Filipino time na pagdating sa church because I want to be the first one so I can hold the cross as an altar server. Because if you get there first, you're the guy. Diba? But for me, it's we had humble beginnings growing up. In Mandawi, Tipolo, specifically in Cebu, we lived in a bamboo house growing up.
Like a bahay kubo?
I would say so, except it was like a 2-story because we had a lot of flood and it's typhoon flood prone. So it's just 15 square meter. It's not very big, right? So and then it's just, for me, in my heart, it's just a way to give back. From, we had a lot of hardships growing up, and I think this is my way to share what God has given me.
So it's a God-fearing family that raised you, and growing up from humble beginnings, it inculcated in you the
Yeah.
love to help others as well. What made your family move to Canada? Ba't kayo nag-migrate doon?
Yeah, good question po. Yeah, my dad did his master's. So my dad is from Cebu. My mom is from Cagayan de Oro in Mindanao. So my dad also just, since we had humble beginnings, my dad just got by with scholarships and stuff. So he graduated from University of Visayas. Then he got a scholarship to Germany, and then after Germany, I think the only options he had was either to stay in Germany or migrate to Canada at that time. So he chose Canada for healthcare and this and that, and then that's how we ended up there.
So, ang nauna na umalis ay ang father mo.
Yes po.
And then he petitioned the whole family.
Yes.
Okay.
But yung mom ko po was in Saudi at the time.
Oh, so kanino kayo Sinong nagpalaki sa inyo? Sino nagbantay sa inyo when your parents were both abroad?
Good question po. So I was kind of all over the place. Sometimes whoever's available in Cebu or whoever's available in Cagayan de Oro. So I think most of my childhood from that time I was with my grandparents in Cagayan de Oro.
You have siblings?
I do have siblings. I have a younger brother. He's also in dentistry.
Oh, kamukha rin ni Aga Mulak.
That's what they say po. Sometimes they say we look alike,
Talaga, parang twins ba?
especially when we have a mask on.
So two boys lang kayo.
2 boys, yeah. I have a younger brother. He's in Canada po. Yeah. But,
So, lumaki kayo sa lola, minsan sa Cebu, minsan sa Cagayan de Oro. Kaya siguro mahilig kang maglakwatsa, no? Magbiyahe-biyahe. Kasi bata ka pala kung saan-saan ka na.
that's right. Yeah.
Was it difficult for you to move to Canada? 8 years old.
Hindi naman po. I spent some time in Germany at saka in Saudi. So in regards to cultures outside the Philippines, it wasn't so bad. But I missed Tipolo Mandawi specifically because it's bustling, right? It's in the middle of the city. And doon sa Canada where we grew up, it was very small and quaint. So we grew up in a small town, Cold Lake in Alberta.
Sa Alberta.
Yeah.
Wow. Sa mga napuntahan mong bansa, saan ka na ba medical missions?
So my very first one po was in Peru, in South America. That was one of my favorite ones, apart from Philippines, for example. And then the most recent one, we were in Ghana. So that was through the University of Saskatchewan. So that was funded by Global Affairs Canada, for example. So it was under the umbrella of One Health too. So it was not just medical or health professionals. It was veterinaries, people in environmental studies and nutrition, for example. So it's a overall outlook of a community that you try to target.
So how many people were in the team when you traveled?
Well, in the team, the overall in the team we were about 8 in Ghana, and then we had 2 in Uganda, 2 in Laos, and then I believe we had 4 in Kenya. So we were all from Canada, and then we kind of separated ways.
Wow. You've been to a lot of places already, huh? What have you been learning whenever you go to a different place? Di ba? There is a certain degree of adjustment whenever you go to a place that's new, the culture is different. What makes the adjustment easier?
I think adjusting in a way that I've done so many medical missions na po, that I think to date I've done about 93.
Wow.
since 2014.
And how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
34 years, 34. 34 na po.
34. So parang 93. Mahina ako sa mathematics pero parang 3
Oh.
3 outreach kung per year
Right.
Grabe, ang dami nun.
Yeah, so even this summer, we have about 57 booked. So it's 57 days of
Wow.
different communities, ibang lugar, for
Oo.
example. So in 2023 po, 2 years ago, we were all the way from Luzon, for example, all the way to Zamboanga, Basilan area.
Talaga?
Yeah.
You've traveled to more places than the regular Filipino who stays here in the
Yeah.
Philippines. Wow, that's really amazing, no? Have you gotten sick? What were challenges that you have encountered whenever you in the medical missions that you've been involved in?
Sa Philippines po, hindi naman. Haven't got sick yet, by the grace of God. But in Ghana po, most of the team members got malaria, for example, and typhoid fever. So we had a couple team members who, they weren't feeling the best. The symptoms of typhoid and malaria. You have diarrhea, you're vomiting. So they almost got pulled out from Ghana actually because the healthcare there isn't the best. So also in Peru, po, if you're familiar with it, the altitude's very high. So some of us are getting altitude sickness then. So, but for me, I've been lucky po. All the places I've gone, I haven't been sick.
Wow. Do you do a certain regimen, preparation whenever you're about to embark on a missions trip?
Well, there's a checklist for sure po, but yung pinaka-importante, you have to pray. You have to pray because every day that you're sick is another day that you can't be part of the team and help out. So, for example, when we have medical outreaches po, it's more or less counted how many patients yung sayo. So, for example, abala na if you get sick and then, you don't mean to get sick, but then when you're sick, then yung team mo has to pick up the slack, right? Or whatnot. And then, so you just, I think the most important thing is you pray.
What's the most number of patients you've had in a day?
In a day? Not me po or the whole team?
You?
Me, 57.
57?
57 by myself.
Ano yan? Cleaning, bunot-bunot? May surgery ba yan? Wala namang surgery siguro.
Not surgery since that takes a little bit longer. But minor surgeries like bunot, for example. So, I think I was just lucky because yung mga binunot namin sa 57, most were badly broken or teeth that really are mobile na. So, gumagalaw na. So, it was...
Mabilis na
Mabilis na.
yan.
But, I would say 57 po. But overall, as a group, we've done about, I would say, 850 maybe.
In a day?
In one day.
Wow!
Yeah, and there's about 20 of us.
Wow!
But not with those 850, not all are all bunot, for example. So there's some instances na magpasta because there's really mga ngipin po na masave pa. So for example, yung mga individuals na magpunta ng medical missions, for example, or dental missions, please don't be mad if hindi kami papayag na hindi bunutin yung ngipin. Because sometimes masave pa. Right? So that's why we say no. And then sometimes we just do preventive measures like mga cleaning. Because that is the best way to just prevent more caries and
Yun. Naku, ang kasama nga po natin ngayon si Doc Jan, ha? Hindi po artista, dentista po siya. At madalas nagpupunta dito sa Pilipinas para nga magsagawa ng mga medical missions, dental missions, kung papaano na-develop yung heart of volunteerism, yung heart and compassion for communities, no, na mag-serve doon. Yan ang ating itatanong sa kanya sa ating pagbabalik dito sa ating Masayang Tahanan. In the meantime, ayan, magsipilyo na po ng ngipin kasi dentista ang ating bisita ngayon. Huwag kalilimutang magsipilyo ng ngipin at after magsipilyo ng ngipin, eto, mag-praise and worship tayo. Kasama sina Pastor Romel and Susan Guevara. It's good for families to worship God together. It's good for families, Filipino families, na ang inaawit natin para sa Panginoon ay mga awiting gawa po ng ating mga Filipino worship leaders. Kaya eto na ang ating usapang worship.
Huwag nating isuko ang ating bayan.
pampamilya dito sa ating Masayang Tahanan. At ang atin nga pong bisita ngayon ay si Doc Jan Gallardo. Jan, short for, hindi pala short for kasi montik na siyang ipanganak ng January pero December po siya talaga ipinanganak. Siya po ay isang, anong masasabi ba natin, dental missionary, no? Pero mag-aaral pa siya uli kasi gusto niyang makapag-serve pa sa mas maraming communities na iba't iba ang pangangailangan. Doc Jan, thank you for your time. Salamat because you carved out time from your very busy schedule. I know that you're flying back to Cebu. Pero nagpunta ka muna dito sa studio natin. So, maraming salamat.
No, thank you for having me po.
Very inspiring talaga yung iyong ginagawa. Meron ka bang mga babatiin, mga communities na nakilala mo, itong recent na mga dental missions ninyo? Why don't you greet them now?
Oh, I want to greet, good question. Greet community from Tanay, for example, since we've been there a couple weeks ago. The community that we served in Mount Makiling, right? And then we were also in Cavite, for example, and then also the communities that we were in Zambales.
Yan. Ako, dami na niyan, ha?
Yeah.
Tapos sa Cebu, when you go home to Cebu, meron pa ring mga outreach.
Meron pa po.
Wow. Talagang walang pagod.
There is a few.
Do you know how to rest? Do you ever rest?
Well, I do. Maybe one day is good enough.
Talaga?
Yeah.
So you don't get sick easily, hindi mo kailangan ng mahabang tulog, one day rest, okay na siya. Talagang pang missionary ka talaga. Hindi ba? Paanong na-develop yon? When you were growing up, do your parents involve the family, join outreaches like what you're doing now?
Not specifically outreaches, but so my mom is a nurse, and then my dad is in engineering. So in regards to outreaches, not very much, but volunteering, we would spend time volunteering at our church there in Canada.
So
Yeah.
talagang malaki ang influence ng family at saka ng parents.
Right.
No? And for them to allow you, the first overseas mission trip that you've been part of, what did your parents say?
Actually, they were excited, but of course they were worried because I was younger that time, right?
How old were you when you first joined an outreach?
I would say about 20. Oh, like my first international one.
International.
I was older. I was 27. 27.
Okay.
Yeah.
So hindi na sila ganun ka-worried.
Hindi naman po. But I have plans to also volunteer in Gaza and in Ukraine because they do need healthcare providers there. And that's what my parents are scared of.
Oh. Scared, but they're not saying no
Right.
to it.
I told them, you know what? I know it's scary, but I have in my heart that if I don't go, who will kind of mentality. So, yun lang po.
Nakakatuwa, maraming mga young professionals your age, they are thinking of establishing themselves, building a nice home, having a family. But your track is different. Your track is, I'm going to go to Gaza, I'm going to go to Ukraine, I'm going to help people. Do you ever have plans of settling down and having your own family?
I do have plans, but yeah, I've gotten that question a lot. So I do have plans, but I think my goal right now is to pursue and finish medicine. So there was really instances in Ghana, for example, we had a local doctor, local Ghanaian doctor that worked half day. Yung mga kinikater namin that specific day was an orphanage that had about 80 kids. That needed dental and medical checkups because they've never seen anything like that or had the opportunity to.
And how old were these children?
They were, I believe they were from grade 2 all the way to grade 4.
Wow.
Yeah, so
So
they're
8 years old, 8, 4, anong edad yan? Mga 8 to about 10 years old?
Yeah.
Tapos walang proper,
no,
medical care?
nope, they never had even a checkup. So we also invited them. We invited, so they were orphans, for example, and in an orphanage. So their dependents, their aunts, uncles, lola, lolos, we also invited them. And some of those individuals haven't even had their blood pressure taken.
Wow.
So it was even just, it opened my eyes that there's a need here. So, but with moving forward, when that local Ghanaian doctor, and it was a big help in the morning, right? Because we're in dentistry, but we can only do so much. So, in the afternoon, when more families came, like older adults, it was hard. It was so heartbreaking when they were like, "Hey, my knee hurts," and then I'm like,
And you
"Oh,
can't do anything
oh
about
no!" Like
it.
I mean, I had a look, right? But then there's, you can palpate, you can do this, you can get them to stretch, you can get them to rotate specific ways and just see. But at the end of the day, you're so limited to what you can do. So was just a reminder for me to just keep pursuing medicine because sometimes we're short medical doctors, sometimes we're short dentist, and then at least if I can do both, then it would just be me and Pastor Alex going to communities everywhere.
Two-man team. Serving the whole community, right? Wow. That's amazing. Putting yourself, the personal interest that you have, putting that on the back burner for now so that you can serve more people. How do you distress and how do you debrief after serving hundreds of families at a given missions trip?
Well, when you say distress, it's I don't think I get stressed in a way. I think every time yung nakatulong ako ng mga families, I think that gives me energy to go help more. So there's really some memorable families that I've met in Zamboanga, for example, and even there in Cebu, where you treat yung mga kids nila, and then yung mom, and then all of a sudden umiiyak yung mom. And then I'm like, hey, what happened? And then, they were like, this is, I'll say it in English, so, but they're like, we don't have the money we don't have the money at all to give you, even if we wanted to. But, what we can do for you is we can pray for you and things like that. And then that just made me cry.
Oh,
So,
you cried there.
I
when they
cried there.
prayed for you.
And if I keep talking now, I'll cry now. So,
Anong pinag-pray nila sa'yo?
no, just for the work that we do, just to bless and guide our hands as a group, and just to continue what we're doing, right?
How does volunteering and doing medical missions, how does it enlarge your perspective about life, about faith, about God?
Well, in life, but people say in dentistry we're just there to make money, right? But at the end of it, it's not even about that. When you do a lot of volunteer work, and then you put yourself in opportunities to help others, you don't even think about it anymore. It's just my outlook in life now is just if I have a place to sleep and like food to eat, then that's good enough for me. That's why we have some sponsors, but what I tell them, when we come to you guys, we're not on vacation. Just put us anywhere. Sometimes you get lucky and then they put you in a resort, or sometimes you get bahay kubo, which is completely fine. So sometimes we pack sleeping bags. Sometimes you're in the van, you're on the floor, you're on the floor of the church, and then at the end of the day, that's part of the fun. Right?
Wow. Nako, yung mga viewers natin dito, parang sinasabi, paano ba makontak yan si Doc Jan? Mag-medical missions nga dito sa church namin, ano? You will be able to contact him through Pastor Alex of Revelation Church. It's
Right.
good to partner with local churches, ano? So that
Right.
there will be people who will follow up on the different families that you are able to serve and minister to.
Exactly, and also Dr. Joy Tika from Hemi.
Yes.
She's been doing this for so many years. She's an inspiration to me too. Yeah. I think ever since she was in her undergrad, she's been volunteering. Yeah.
What's your long-term goal in doing all this? How do you see yourself 10 years from now, 15 years from now?
I think doing international medical missions is nice, but I think my heart is here in Philippines. Like I'll still go international ones, but I just want to focus at least 4 months of my life here.
Wow.
At least, right? So sometimes I just want to spend time here for 4 months. 10 years from now, hopefully, I'm a medical doctor by then. So we can cater and help more. Hopefully, have a family by then.
Yay! And many other little agamulak-looking kids running around and assisting you in your
Exactly.
assisting you in your medical missions. Ano ba 'yan? Meron ka bang non-negotiable sa magiging future partner? Dapat ba nurse? Dapat ba doctor din?
Not specifically, but then I would hope that they have the same faith as I do, or at least fear God as well. So it's and at least if they have, not specifically an occupation, but if we're in the same line or same field, then they can maintindihan niya. Oh, like they can understand why or how hard it is to do volunteer work sometimes. And sometimes it has long hours too.
Yeah.
So for example, when we were over at Revelation Church, we worked until 10 p.m. Right?
Sa sa Sampaloc,
Sa
Manila.
Sampaloc, yeah. And then even in God is Able in Mount Makiling, right? We worked until
Very early in the morning, and then how late were you up cleaning teeth?
we stayed until 10 p.m.
10 p.m.
And I was just sad because we only stopped because the machine, the portable dental unit, was heating up. So umiinit na. So if hindi yun nagbigay or if it was still good to work, I would have kept working.
Wow.
Yeah.
What were the heartbreaking stories and heartbreaking experiences that you've encountered checking up on people, cleaning their teeth, looking at their condition?
Right. So we've had a few. So there were some instances where it's not so much the people, but the weather. So we've had some instances, but where you're in a gym, and then all of a sudden bagyo, and then everything is getting wet, and then may mga patients pa. So of course you have to find ways to finish these patients, right? Or there was a big storm doon sa Cebu when I was still a student. Then pinuntahan namin. And then so we brought relief goods and things like that. And the weather was so bad that we got stuck there for 2 days. So it was, you have challenges like that in regards to medical missions and people in general. It's so far God has been very good. We no complications or nothing to. Yeah, it's been good. Yeah.
When you go back home to Canada after experiencing life in the Philippines, life in Ghana, life in Peru, when you go back home, sleep on your own bed again, what are the things that you think about? What are the things that you are grateful for?
I'm grateful for just, for example, my dad. he worked very hard to give me the opportunity to do these kind of things too. So he's very supportive in what I do. But sometimes, yeah, it's what I think about is really you just have to be grateful for the things you have and not really strive for things. Like, there are things that are wants compared to needs. So there's happiness in the little things in life that people take for granted, is what I'm trying to say. And then, people always strive to do this, get new cars and things like that. But sometimes, when you take a step back, I think family is the most important. So the happiest I am with is when I'm home and I could spend time with them.
You talked about car. What kind of car do you drive back in Canada?
Well, I drive like a Nissan 370C.
It's not a very simple car.
It's not. So going back to your family question. So it's a 2-door. It only seats 2, the driver and the passenger. So the people I've my ex-girlfriend at the time, she was like, this is not a very family-oriented car. So she's like, maybe you're not ready yet.
You're ready to go to mission trip, but not ready to settle down yet, right? Because you still want to add to your skills so that you can serve more people. But those are wonderful realizations. There are many things that we take for granted,
Right.
but if we have hearts that are contented in the Lord, hearts that are grateful to our family, life would be happier and life would be more meaningful. To younger people who are watching and listening to our show right now, what are the things that they should prepare for should they desire to also get involved in medical missions, in outreaches, even if they're not doctors yet or dentists yet? How can they have that same experience?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, first and foremost, I really advise the young adults, for example, to, take up any chance they can get to volunteer, regardless if it's in your community, your church, or leadership positions in school, right? It really, it builds character and the school that I go to in Canada, it's University of Saskatchewan. And yung motto namin is be the change you want to see in the world. So that's what I really want to tell the young adults, that you know what, if you want to make a difference, put yourself in a position to do so. And then if you're inclined into medical and dental outreaches or in healthcare, for example, there's lots of opportunities to volunteer, regardless if you're in like a medical doctor or a dentist. Auxiliaries are always just as important because we can't do it all, right? So either you're helping with triage when you're registering, or you're taking vital signs, or you're helping distribute meds with the pharmacist. There's always things that you can do to help out.
At saka when you get exposed to work and outreaches like this, baka ngayon you're not yet decided if you're going to pursue a strand in science or in medicine, but interacting with people like you would somehow give them an idea, ay, maganda pala ito. So, I want to be a dentist too. I want to be a doctor too. Diba? So, kahit na, yan, sa registration ka muna, o kaya assist, o bigyan ng cotton si doktor kasi
Right.
kailangan ng more cotton, o linis-linis ng konti, malaking bagay yan. At napakagandang experience para po sa ating mga pamilya, para sa mga young professionals, para po sa ating mga anak. Doc Jan, ano ang gusto mong iwan sa ating mga viewers at mga listeners ngayon? Growing up in Cebu, in Canada, being exposed to different countries, what are the things that you have observed that makes a happy home and happy families?
Happy home, happy families. I think when you pray together, that's a big part of it. I think when you study the Bible, put time aside, that's a big part of it as well. And just to go to church, and then just that way, that it's a big part of a family that is important to me. And I think communication in a family is very good, because sometimes you have shortcomings. There'll always be fights in
Of course.
Look.
Where 2 or 3 are gathered, there will be conflict.
Right. There'll always be quarrels and things like that. But at the end of the day, when you just have to communicate, specific, like for example with my brother, he's a big like the last question you asked me about the young adults, for example. He was never one to go on medical dental missions with me. He was the one that, like, I love you, Jay, but I'm gonna say. So I would wake up. Our call time usually 5:30 in the morning. So I'd be waking up at 5 or 4:30. Sometimes he's still awake playing games, for example. And then I'm like, hey, do you not want to come with me? At least you can assist, because this is when he wasn't there at that point of his dental career yet, right? So you know what, time and time, to the point where I got mad at him, or annoyed, that I'm like, hey man, this is something good, and I want you to be a part of it. And he never really listened, up until one day he joined, because he was handling patients already at that time. And then it was a very drastic switch, because now he's based here in Philippines. So he's doing it every weekend. He's been
So he's based in Cebu?
He's based in Cebu for the time being, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so now it's a complete switch, because now I tell him to slow down and just pace himself, but he just keeps going too. So sometimes
But you're the one who influenced him to be like that.
I know, and then
And now you're asking him to slow down. Parang I remember one of the teachers of my children, she said, people are like trees. You cannot force them to grow up. They have their own time and their own pace, and you just have to wait. No
Right.
amount of saying, you do this, you grow, will make that tree grow. You
That's
just
right.
have to be patient until, just like your brother,
Yeah, so
he's now into missions.
I'm so proud of him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that story.
Thank you.
And thank you for allowing us to have a sneak peek into your life and what you do as a dentist who is also a missionary. Thank you,
you.
Doc John.
Thank you po.
Nakasama natin dito sa ating masayang tahanan si Doc John Gallardo. At sana nga po ay na-inspire kayo sa kanyang mga ibinahagi sa atin ngayong araw na ito. Nakaka-refresh makakilala ng mga tao, mga millennials na gaya niya. Hindi lamang ang focus ay doon sa maging successful, maging sikat, magpayaman, kundi papaano magkaroon ng difference sa mundong ito sa pamamagitan ng mga little contributions nila. And I hope that his story and what he does will inspire all our families today to also find ways to make a difference in our community, to also find ways to serve other families. Maraming salamat sa lahat ng tumutok, nakinig at nanood sa ating masayang tahanan. Maraming salamat din sa ating mga nakasama, ang ating mga co-pilot, sina Angge, Benji, She, at syempre ang ating editor Precious Grospec Cruz na nagtatahi ng ating programa para palagi kayong mabusog sa ating mga aral at kwentuhan. Ako nga po ang inyong kumare forever, Maloy Malibiran sa Lumbides, palaging nagsasabi ang masayang tahanan, sama-sama nating pagsumikapan. God bless our families.